Hey, welcome to another episode of Audio Scrawl. This is Brandon.
This is Kang, and today is July 29th, 2016. We have a lot to talk about. A lot of stuff did happen. Alright, so I guess we'll start with the oldest news first. The biggest fighting game tournament happened, Evolution 2016 in Las Vegas. And one of the highlights of it I want to talk about really quick is the top 8 of Street Fighter V being live broadcast on ESPN2. And I do want to highlight this because it was really professionally well done. You know, it was treated with respect. I mean, the commentators of Seth Killian, Gutek, and Mike Ross was very well done, handled greatly, and I do want to see them, showcase more esports. What do you think on that?
I agree. I caught a little bit of it. I haven't watched the whole recordings of the EVO. I caught a couple of matches, but I was very entertained by it because the announcers, they were trying to explain what's going on, the movements that are happening, and each player's movements. They're talking about what's going on. For example, I think it was a Nash versus a Mika fight, and half the match they're explaining about how Nash is baiting the opponent, just drawing the character in, setting things up, and then they just go for the attack. So it's really cool to get that kind of insight.
Yeah, I think Street Fighter V is an easier game to comprehend, because it's just 1v1 instead of if you were to watch a MOBA game where it's so much things happening on screen,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, moving on.
Moving on. No, I think that's about it, though. I think I would like to talk about movies, films.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to discuss, maybe review or talk about these 2 movies that I saw the last couple of weeks. Get these out of the way, and then I want to get to the topic I really want to talk about: San Diego Comic-Con trailers. So last weekend, me and my girlfriend saw the movie Ghostbusters. It's the, this is not a sequel. It is flat out a reboot. There's so many controversy behind it. I'm honestly just sick and tired of it. How I feel about the movie as a Ghostbusters fan, I'm very mixed about it. I say mixed because this has nothing to do with being scared of people getting mad at me or anything like that based on the review. I'm giving it a review based on how I feel about the movie as someone who enjoys movies. And I'm very mixed about it because it does have some good ideas in there. I think the original stuff that they were doing I liked. There were a couple of moments I did chuckle and laughed at. I think the girls did a really good job, especially Leslie Jones, who I felt was the most grounded person or the most grounded character in the movie, and I kind of felt like she had maybe the better lines or better comedy setups.
Yeah, considering she was the worst part of the trailers.
The worst part of the trailers, but the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Ironically, I just feel like whoever did the trailers for Ghostbusters should not work for Sony again.
Yeah, should not make trailers anymore.
Yeah, because the movie isn't really as bad as those trailers.
I mean, it's still a bad movie.
But yeah, I mean, everyone's mixed about it, and I feel like it's a movie that if you're a real Ghostbusters fan and you're just very curious, check it out. You never know. But yeah, if you're someone who feels like you're not feeling for the movie, yeah, don't bother. But if you feel optimistic, go for it. It's not the worst movie out there. There are plenty of worse films out there. So it's just good popcorn fun.
I will say, if you didn't like the trailers, you probably won't like the movies.
Yeah. Anyway, so to kind of get the Ghostbusters fiasco out of the way, I kind of felt like it overshadowed films that are coming out that I completely forgot is coming out, and I just got excited again because now these movies are popping up. They're fresh in my mind. I'm ready for them. Star Trek Beyond, Magnificent Seven, as well as Suicide Squad. Okay, so I believe last weekend. I saw Star Trek Beyond, and I really enjoyed that movie. It kind of felt like. What's interesting about that movie was it had a trailer where the first trailer is kind of I'm getting a little nervous about this movie.
Yeah, the first trailer was not a good trailer.
But Simon Pegg, he backed it up. He felt like that was a bad trailer. I agree with you guys, but hey, hold on, check out this movie. And the fact that Simon Pegg was involved with the writing, I feel like I gotta give this movie a shot. But it doesn't matter. I'm excited for this movie anyway because I did like the last two movies. I liked the first one more than the second, and it was very enjoyable. Like it was much more balanced. This one's probably the most Star Trek out of all of those films among the reboots. Just because it tried to give like elements, like tries to give like better backstory to the characters. Captain Kirk isn't like a frat boy exaggeration, womanizer type character. He was kind of like being like, well, Captain Kirk. So there was a lot more depth to him. There was stuff going on with the movie that you have Spock going on, and he's having personal issues. So some of these characters are having like personal problems, and it just kind of made it more interesting. The visual effects and the action in the movie is just fantastic. I have to give credit to Justin Lin because I was very concerned that Fast and the Furious guy is going to be directing a sci-fi movie like Star Trek. I'm
that's not even debatable.
Good or bad, that's hard to say because like the issues with the Star Trek movies among like the Star Trek loyalists is that they don't feel like Star Trek, like they don't feel cerebral enough. Like it's not like.
But the issue is what I'm thinking of talking about is like the first since the reboot, it's always been it is an action movie.
Yeah.
So it's for him to come in like to direct another Star Trek. I'm like, yeah, okay, it makes sense. He directs action movies,
right?
Fast and the Furious.
But can he capture the essence of Star Trek?
That's up to the writers.
Yeah. Well, honestly, to say I want Justin Lin and Simon Pegg to work together. I thought Simon Pegg did a fantastic job screenwriting it, and then Justin Lin, I thought he just did a fantastic job with the movie. They seemed to have like some goals that they were striving for. So it seemed like they accomplished them. And I just felt like it was much more balanced, and I would love those guys to keep at it, especially for the next film.
Yeah, because they are making another film.
Yeah. It's no secret that Chris Hemsworth is coming back to Star Trek. Yeah. And he is reprising the role of George Kirk. And it's kind of a question of like what's going on here, because I think what's going on is that the characters are gonna Captain Kirk is gonna meet his father, so it feels like it's gonna be a time travel story. It could be something else. Who knows? Maybe there's cloning or cloning. Who knows?
Cloning, flashback, a hologram recording, pre-recording.
Yeah. I mean, there's all sorts of possibilities, and you can't say like, well, that's jumping the shark. It's like, well, look at Star Trek. A lot of these elements come from the source material. Mm-hmm. It just comes down to how they handle it too. Yeah.
I can't say much because I haven't seen the movie. All I can say is that the first trailer made it look really bad, but the trailers after that made it look really good. Yeah, it caught my interest, so I'll check it down. Probably check out the movie.
So yeah, that's it about me on the movies that came out so far. Okay, so how about you, King?
Yeah, so moving on to Comic-Con, I guess. San Diego Comic-Con wrapped up last week. A lot of movie trailers came out, especially from the DC side. And some smaller stuff from the Marvel side, but the bigger stuff was kept in Hall H, I believe, the main hall. Yeah. So, we'll just go through some of the trailers that was shown. First off, we'll just keep the comic books in a separate area. Right now, did you see the Kong Skull Island trailer?
I did see that trailer.
What did you think of it?
I'm very iffy about the presentation of that trailer.
I thought it looked really good. I'm
not gonna judge it. It's not gonna affect my feeling towards the movie because I'm gonna see it anyway. Because this is a setup. This is something huge and grand. But we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out like what's going on with Kong Skull Island. Is it canon with the original King Kong, or will it be a brand new original story? Because it looks like it takes place in modern time.
Of course, it's not canon. It's a new story, but it's set in a new universe.
Okay,
cinematic universe.
And that's interesting that you say that. But bring that up in a couple of seconds. But okay, so you like the trailer? Why is that?
Yeah, I definitely like the trailer. It definitely set up a lot of interesting plots that I want answered. Here's these military guys going to this unknown island, and then apparently Samuel Jackson's in there, which I had no idea he was. And then it looked like
John Goodman's in it too.
It looked like John Goodman might have an ulterior motive to being there in the first place that he's not telling everybody. And of course at the end of the trailer they give you like a small teaser of King Kong, which is just enough to okay, I want to see more of this.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a good trailer.
There's enough mystery there to kind of like spark interest of like what's going on. Especially like, hey, what are these guys doing at Skull Island? I mean, John Goodman seemed like ulterior motive. When you say that, I'm kind of like thinking, what, just like in the original film, is he going to be the filmmaker or someone trying to exploit Kong? Mm-hmm. Or something else? Should we talk about like what's the grand plan of Kong?
Oh yeah, I think if people aren't already aware of, the grand plan of Kong is, I guess, the first of if not the second, technically, of a cinematic universe where they are going to, at the end game, have a Godzilla versus King Kong movie.
Now, it's not the first that they're doing like a cinematic universe, because this has happened before where Rodan, Mothra, Godzilla, King Kong. Well, I mean, King Kong I don't think was a grand plan or anything like that, but a lot of these monsters have had their own films, mm-hmm. and then eventually they just all crossed over to Godzilla, and that's its cinematic universe right there.
Yeah, the plan is Godzilla, King Kong, and then Godzilla 2.
Yeah,
and then Godzilla King Kong versus King Kong. So.
Yeah. So the question now comes down to like, if this is part of the Godzilla universe, if it's canon with the first Godzilla film that came out a few years ago with Bryan Cranston. Even though his character, spoilers, died. But I still like to credit the actor because he was the best part. When's it going to take place? I mean, is it taking place like before Godzilla, or is it going to be taking place after Godzilla?
Yeah, it looks like if not after or during the same time.
Maybe, I was thinking during the same time.
Because it does look like modern times, so...
But I do want this film to focus on King Kong. I don't want it to revolve too much around Godzilla. I mean, that might be cool if there's a little bit of hints here and there. But it's most likely guaranteed that maybe at the end of the film, maybe mid-credit or after credits, that they'll probably be hinting about their future plans. Mm-hmm. Maybe a hint of Godzilla or something.
Yeah, maybe next Comic-Con.
All right. Anything else to add about Kong Skull Island?
Nope. I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. Okay, what's after that?
Are you a Harry Potter fan? Yes, no?
I'm intrigued about the new movie. I know
Okay.
what you're moving on to.
Okay, yeah. The new J.K. Rowling book, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, is the title of the movie. New trailer came out, and, I'm not a big Harry Potter fan. It looks good. But that's all I can say about it,
I mean, I think what's nice about it is you don't have to be a Harry Potter fan, and you don't have to be, like, heavily involved with Harry Potter lore, because this movie takes place, like, like, what, 60, 70 years prior to the current events.
Yeah, still in the same universe.
And, of course, same universe. It's a, historical piece type of movie, and it's in the United States of America.
Yep, so we'll be having American wizards.
Yep, so I'll talk about like their point of views, like what goes on here, and I'm interested. I'm very fascinated by the movie. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, I guess, when it comes out.
The question is, actually, I probably have no choice but to see it. My girlfriend's a big Harry Potter fan.
Mm-hmm. All right, so what's next?
I'm going to talk about King Arthur.
Oh yeah, King Arthur.
Yes. You were the first to tell me about it, so I had to go check out the trailer. And I mean, of course, I'm going to check out King Arthur. I really like the tales of King Arthur. But I'm very intrigued that it's directed by Guy Ritchie, so it's a Guy Ritchie film. And just watching that trailer, I don't know like what majority of people feel about this movie. But I'm sold. I'm in. I'm so excited to see this movie because that trailer just oozes a Guy Ritchie style. It just has I don't know what it is about Guy Ritchie and his movies. He always just have like these English misfits, like these Sherlock Holmes, those movies with Robert Downey Jr. I think they're fantastic movies, and I feel like the main character is kind of like with main characters in Snatch or Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels. You just have these characters that are just misfits of society. Like they're not like in proper standing citizen and or anything like that. These are just people who are just like outcasts who are just involved in trouble. And King Arthur, you see him like being questioned by these knights, and it just screams Guy Ritchie to me, and it just intrigues me.
Yeah, I actually, before I even watched the trailer, I had zero interest in this movie because I didn't know who was making it. I didn't know the director. I was like, oh, another King Arthur movie,
right? Another King Arthur.
Yeah,
movie.
I'm like, okay, great, but it was like shown at Comic-Con, so I'm like, well, whatever. I'm watching all the Comic-Con trailers, anyways. And I was like, okay, oh, it's a Guy Ritchie film. All right. And that's all the trailer. All right, I'm in. So it definitely looks really entertaining.
Yeah, they seem to have like that, they got witty dialogue there going on. I forgot the actor's name. My parents love this actor too. He was in Sons of Anarchy, the main character. He was in Pacific Rim as well, the main character there. Yeah, he's a British actor, but yeah, I'm excited that he's playing Arthur, and it's a different interpretation of King Arthur. So I don't know how accurate it's going to be. I don't know how it's going to follow the stories, if it's Guy Ritchie doing his own interpretation of it, but I enjoyed his interpretation of Sherlock Holmes. I don't see why not check out his interpretation of King Arthur.
Yeah.
And then if anyone doesn't like it and they're upset, then hey, I mean, there's other King Arthur films that you probably like, and it's there. And yeah, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I'm super excited for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
That's about it.
Yeah. All right, moving on. And I believe is there one more?
TV trailers. So Marvel did show off Luke Cage for Netflix.
Okay, so moving on to the comic book stuff.
Oh yeah. That's right. We were saving up for last. I'm trying to think of other films.
Oh no, that's fine. Yeah. Moving on to Marvel stuff, but like the smaller stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so Marvel did show up their trailers for the Netflix series.
Yes. Yeah, they got me pretty hyped up actually. Luke Cage. I've just been super excited about Luke Cage. It's kind of interesting too because Luke Cage is being released September 30th, and it sounds like it's affecting the release of another series. It seems to be affecting Flash Season 3. That's not coming out until like mid-October. That's insane. Like normally a fall series starts like in mid-September, but supposedly rumor has it that DC Comics doesn't want to compete against Marvel's Netflix series,
which doesn't make any sense considering Netflix series comes out. All of Netflix series comes out at the same time. Like all the episodes comes out together.
Yeah, and what frustrates me about those, and I have to stay away from like Social Network, like I have to be careful about it, is that people binge watch them. So you got like 12 or 14 episodes being released, 1 hour each. Me, I don't have time to watch them all at once or immediately. In fact, I only have the patience to watch like maybe 2 episodes a day anymore, and I'm just kind of like, no, I gotta go outside. I have to do something else. Most people, they're gonna watch it immediately. They're gonna be done with it. So I think Flash would have been okay. There's no reason for it to be delayed.
Yeah, Flash would have been fine, considering how popular Flash is. Like nobody knows Luke Cage. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows Flash. Season 1 and Season 2 was pretty great.
I think people are counting on Marvel Netflix. I think people have built up enough trust in Marvel or the collaboration with Marvel Netflix that it'll be huge because Jessica Jones did really well. Daredevil's doing fantastic. And so Luke Cage is the next one. They're teasing it, they're promoting it. So I think people should be ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
After that, they showed
a teaser trailer of Iron Fist.
Yep, they did. That got me super excited.
Yeah, and it is a teaser trailer. Didn't show much, but we'll see what happens.
There's enough mystery there.
Mm-hmm.
We got bearded Danny Rand. We'll see how long he'll keep that beard.
Yeah.
I don't want him to have the costume at the end of the series. I hope he has his costume either midway or the beginning of the series. I'm very curious how they'll do his origin story or the structure of it, but the structure of these series have been fantastic. Luke Cage, same thing with Luke Cage. They haven't gone over too much about like his origin, how he got his powers. Wouldn't surprise me if they just don't bother, which is fine because the character got established in Jessica Jones. So I'm ready for his series.
Yeah.
They did show the teaser for the Defenders, but it wasn't anything.
It's nothing worth noting. Yeah.
It's just showing visual images of titles. It's just showing little teases of like the characters from the series that's already been broadcasted. So it's nothing to rave about.
Yep.
I guess just to remind us that Defenders will be coming out.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I think the actor who played as Punisher, he seems to be hanging around quite a bit. So it just feels like they're teasing more series. Marvel announced Ghost Rider is going to be in season 4 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a waste. I feel like Ghost Rider doesn't quite fit in with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm not watching the series, so I guess I wouldn't fully know, but I don't know. I mean, I can get behind Inhumans because there are some Inhuman characters who are part of S.H.I.E.L.D. But right now, I kind of feel like you should have just done a Netflix series of Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I feel that way too.
Yeah, and but for the Ghost Rider, I think they're playing it safe though. Might have been a good decision. I think his name is Robbie Reyes, or Robbie Reyes. Reyes. I have trouble pronouncing that last name. Reyes. How would you pronounce it? I'm having trouble.
Reyes. Yeah, Reyes.
Reyes. Yeah, so he's from the Marvel Now Ghost Rider comics. He, instead of getting in a motorcycle, he gets in a car and, it becomes like his Hell Rider or Hell vehicle. Okay, so we're done with Marvel because I feel like that's it from them.
Well, I guess moving on to the bigger trailer, I guess Marvel did release a second trailer of Doctor Strange.
Oh yes, they did. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it looked great. I'm excited for it.
I'm stoked for that movie. I think there's people who are concerned and complaining about like there's too many Inception or Matrix kind of visuals and looks to it, and I have to agree. Like, yeah, I mean, it looks like Inception or Matrix, but from what I understand, it seems to be visual designs that came from the comics. That came from like the '60s era. I hear it's a crazy comic book series. Like very, very psychedelic. So hearing about that and kind of seeing the visual presentation of it, I kind of feel like, all right, I mean, I'm prepared for this. I have an understanding of Doctor Strange and that whole visual element going on. So that's fine.
Yeah, looks good.
Yeah.
Looks good. Okay. All right, moving on. Okay, so I guess the biggest news that came out of Comic-Con happened from DC Comics. And their movie universe is the first trailer we'll talk about is I don't know if you watched it or not, the final trailer of Suicide Squad, which just looks fantastic again. Like honestly, all the trailers of Suicide Squad has been on point. Like,
I didn't watch it.
I just want to see the movie. Yeah,
I didn't want to watch it because I'm already hyped. I'm just gonna go watch it. They got me with the first trailer. And the second trailer, much better. Or, it's showing a little bit more, but I don't know enough. I'm so curious. What does Joker have to do with it all? And who's the main villain? They haven't really talked about the main villain or what is the objective of the Suicide Squad. So I'm very curious about that. But I'm more interested in seeing the interaction of the characters. How are they going to work together? Because I don't think it's going to be like, like cohesive. I think there'll be a lot of bickering, and I'm excited for Harley Quinn.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a good movie. Definitely check out the trailer, Brandon. But the second trailer that came out is the Wonder Woman trailer. The first premiere of the Wonder Woman trailer. What are your thoughts?
I loved it.
Yeah, it looks holy cow, yeah. For our first trailer, holy cow, they pulled it off.
WB is doing stuff that's kind of reinvigorating my faith in them. Because with Batman v Superman, I mean, there's a little bit of like, I don't know, it just felt drained from the movie.
The trailer was fine for Batman v Superman.
The trailers were great for
that one trailer that was bad.
It showed too much, actually. That's the problem.
Yeah, but this one, it looks great.
Yeah, it has great setups too. It's not giving away too much stuff. I felt like.
Yeah, Steve meets Chris Pine's character,
Steve Trevor.
Yeah, he falls into the Amazonas island, and she meets a man for the first time in her life.
Yep. I like Chris Pine. I like seeing him in movies. He has like he's got some little funny dialogues there. Mm-hmm. You know, like she goes like, "You're a man. Should I not be?
Do I not look like one?
Don't I look like one? Yeah. Thank you." Mm-hmm. The action looks fantastic. I'm really liking that it's World War I setting. It definitely looks like it has a lot more close quarter combat. And I like her lasso of truth. Yeah,
I like how she uses her lasso of truth.
They had me with Batman v Superman. I kind of feel like Wonder Woman might have been she might have been the best part in that movie.
One of the best parts, yes.
And when I saw the lasso of truth wrapped around Doomsday, I had a big grin on my face. I thought, that's super cool. Something about the lasso of truth, I guess maybe because of the Hanna-Barbera cartoon series, it just seemed like a weird gimmicky kind of rope. But the way she's been using it, there's more to it than that. I like it. Mm-hmm. And I like that it glows.
Yeah, whenever she uses it, yes. I like the shot where she was deflecting off all those bullets.
Yeah, I like
held
that.
At her. Yeah,
with her shield
as she stepped out of that the trench. Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy.
The trench. I like the image of her horseback riding.
Yes, horseback riding, a shield and sword. Yeah, hopefully it turns out great. So
she's Gal Gadot. She's got that look.
She definitely has the look, but we'll see if she has the acting chops because
she did. I don't know. She already proved to us in Batman v Superman. We just have to see that consistency, but I think she's got it. I think she nailed it. She'll be fine.
All right, we'll see.
All right, then what happened after that? After this trailer?
Yeah, and then the most unexpected thing happened afterwards, because I was expecting them to show off Justice League trailer, but only for the fans. And then a little bit afterwards, Zack Snyder tweeted the official Justice League. I guess I don't want to call it like a featurette trailer because it wasn't really.
It didn't feel complete.
It didn't feel like a trailer per se. It was just like, hey, we shot a couple of scenes already, and we'll just put them together, and that's what it felt like. So it kind of felt like.
I feel like the purpose of this trailer, they show the Justice League trailer, but it doesn't feel like a trailer to me.
And that's one of the problems with the Comic-Con trailers. The Comic-Con trailers is specifically just for the fans, the fans get it. The fans knows the characters already, and so they don't want public to see that because they're not public trailers. Later afterwards, when it gets closer to release, they'll edit a better trailer for the public to know. Okay. Now this is an interesting looking trailer.
But it kind of feels like they had to do this, and it comes from like all the backlashes from Batman v Superman. It's like having it's like having someone like doing a presentation and doing a presentation among investors, and which is us, the viewers, the fans, not just the viewers who are at San Diego Comic-Con, but it just seems like globally, like all the customers. And trying to explain to us, like, why Justice League is going to be a better movie. It's like trying to prove to us that this is going to be good. This will not be so much like Batman v Superman. This is going to have like a lighter, maybe a better tone and better element to it. And it's looking good.
But
we'll see.
Yeah,
I mean, I've said the same about Batman v Superman. I mean, they had it going with the trailers. I think one trailer showed too much stuff where you're watching the movie and you're kind of like, like I've already seen all this already. I just wish I didn't from the trailers.
It definitely looks interesting. Aquaman looks like a badass. Barry Allen is a wisecracking Loner. I really wish they would have just gone with Wally West if they wanted him to be funnier, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It didn't matter to me if they went with Barry Allen or Wally West. I think maybe Wally West would have been like a nice bolder choice because, right? I don't know. Seeing the Flash from Batman v Superman, I was kind of like questioning the guy. Like he had long hair,
Yeah,
had a
long
beard,
hair, yep.
and I was kind of being weirded out about him like being the Flash. But now we see him. His hair is short. He's clean shaved. Very young guy. But then what weirded me out was I thought he looks like Grant Gustin from the Flash TV series. In fact, the way he was like reacting or talking is kind of like this awkward, shy person. It just felt like felt too much like Grant Gustin there. Like they're trying to pull too much from the TV show. And so I know there's a lot of people out there who's complaining, like, why not just use Grant Gustin as the Flash in the movies? We like this character. We identify him as Barry Allen.
Not me.
Nope, not you. That's okay.
But the costume's definitely better. Can't argue with that.
I'm mixed about the... I don't know, because I like the costume in the series, and it kind of makes sense to me if he moves super fast.
That's a bad costume.
No,
it's not a bad costume. It's a good costume, but it's definitely a lower budget costume. That's for sure.
Well, it has the look of like a superhero costume, but keep in mind that superhero costumes, especially presented in comic books, they're practically spandex. So what we saw in the TV, or what we see in the TV series, it looks, a little bit sturdier. It's got some layers of like leather or something that look like it could protect him.
No, not anymore.
In the show.
Not for the most part, right? Because Superman, the New 52 Superman, his suit is like armor. It's like Kryptonian armor.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Batman doesn't look too much like an armor.
Well, he had he had a new costume for Justice League. They showed it off with when they showed the trailer, when they showed the poster of all the Justice League members. His suit does look padded, a little more padded.
Aquaman. Yeah, Aquaman. I'm digging the actor playing as Aquaman.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, looks good. Maybe he's being a little too rough. I don't know. I mean, I have a pretty good idea of Aquaman, and I think Aquaman. I never hated Aquaman. I like the character. In fact, I've read some of the comics from New 52, learning a little bit more about his powers, and that I can believe that Aquaman, he doesn't necessarily need a shirt nor armor because he does have like a very strong skin. Like skin armor, so to speak. So when bullets hit him, it's more like scratching or grazing him. I mean, it can still hurt him, but it's not going to kill him. So he has some defense there. So I can believe him like without a suit of armor above him.
Mm-hmm. And then we had a glimpse of Wonder Woman. Like, she looks fine still.
Yeah.
She had a different shield on, but it's interesting to note. But we also saw Cyborg for the first time.
He looks like he still needs some polish.
Yeah, definitely a year away.
But he looks good.
But he looks good.
I like what I see anyway. Mm-hmm. That's fine.
Yeah. So definitely a lighter tone to go with this, which seems to be completely reacting to the criticism.
Batfleck's not angry.
Yeah, it is weird that one thing I will nitpick about is that Batman's recruiting everybody, and he's okay with revealing his secret identity. Which, it's not really comic book-like unless he, absolutely has to. Because,
Kang, Superman died, and he owes him.
Yeah.
He's going to do right by him.
That's what he said.
That's right. So, Superman's not there to recruit. Who else is going to recruit?
Lex Luthor.
I don't want to talk about Lex Luthor.
He's fine. He's actually a very interesting Lex Luthor.
Well, I still need to see the home release, the R-rated version of the film.
What makes it better?
Yep. Yeah, I'm very curious.
Okay, and that was it, right? That was all of the DC trailers.
It's like all the movie trailers I can think of from San Diego Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Before we move on to talk about video games, I'll talk quickly about comic books and what's going on.
Okay.
Marvel's been revealing about what's happening with the certain characters So Civil War is happening, and it's affecting characters. It's causing characters to go away. I won't get into too much spoilers from Civil War 2. Should we? Or should we talk about?
I don't know.
Yeah? Oh, screw it. Let's just talk about it. I'm going to say this. Bruce Banner has been killed off. Will it be permanent? Can't say for sure.
Yeah, quote unquote, killed off.
Yeah, because I need to bring this up because it does affect like what's going on in the future series. War Machine, Rhodey, he's been killed. He was killed by Thanos, and it has a lot to do with like Civil War 2 and the Inhuman that can read into the future. So some of these veteran characters are just getting killed off. But it's not the first time it's happened. In these major crossover events. But Marvel has announced that there's going to be new Iron Man pilots. The main character that they're showing off, and they're setting things up in the current run right now, is Riri Williams. She is a African American girl. She's a student at MIT, and she's building her own armor. So they're already showing solicitations that she will be the next new Iron Man. Or Iron Woman. And then they showed off another title called The Infamous Iron Man. And this one, like, just by looking at the image of it too, it's going to be piloted by Victor Von Doom. So this, it's a Doctor Doom Iron Man mesh kind of armor.
Yeah, he was already halfway there, I suppose.
Pretty much. I mean, Doctor Doom was before Iron Man, but many people would say that Doctor Doom's like a rip-off of Iron Man because he's wearing a suit of armor with all these special tech and capabilities. Mm-hmm. Well, it'll make him interesting as an Iron Man, which is no different than from being Doctor Doom before, is he uses technological gadgets and he uses sorcery.
Yeah, I'd say he's a pretty powerful sorcerer.
Yeah, he's up there with Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued by that. But what do you think about these announcements?
Interesting. One of the biggest. They're fine. I mean, replacing older characters with new. With new characters, nothing new. I definitely am interested to see, what Tony Stark's role is going to be. Now that he's technically not Iron Man anymore.
But the question is, will he be alive by then?
Yeah,
is that what's going on?
Yeah, that's true. Quote unquote alive by then.
It wouldn't surprise me that these are happening because it could have something to do with the movies where these actors like Robert Downey Jr., he is getting older, and if they want to keep making these movies, eventually the mantle has to be passed down.
Yeah, it's got to be recast.
That too, mm-hmm. Or they have to do a reboot. So.
Mm-hmm. I guess one of the bigger news was that Marvel announced X-Men versus Inhumans. Yeah, so Marvel really don't like X-Men anymore, huh? They sure don't give Fox any publicity.
It sounds like people are getting really burned out from Marvel's crossovers, or just crossover in general, and I feel like it's being oversaturated. Because people I didn't read it, I didn't even bother because people didn't seem to like it. People didn't like the Avengers versus X-Men, and this sounds like a repeat after that, X-Men versus Inhumans. And I kind of feel like, why would they fight each other? And I've read some of the Inhuman books, and I really don't get why would they be at war with each other. The Terrigen Mist happens, and yeah, it's affecting mutants. It just makes no sense, like, why Inhumans even care about the Terrigen Mist being on the loose. I would think that it would be for the best to kind of, like, clean it up or get rid of it. Because it's supposed to be a rite of passage among the Inhuman clans. Mm-hmm. It's hurting the X-Men, and the X-Men wants to get rid of it. Or I should say it's hurting the mutant populations. People are getting sick from it or dying from it. Mm-hmm. Or it's neutralizing from new mutants coming forward. And it's just weird. I am curious what the outcome is to come out of it, but yeah, I really don't get what Marvel's trying to do with the X-Men, but I'm already not happy about it.
That's another major crossover, that's all.
Yeah. I think Marvel needs to take it easy and start making solo series as solo series. and not have too many crossover events, because it's just hard to like. They've been since the start of the all new, all different Marvel project. Like I felt like we didn't get enough time to get to know these characters in their new roles.
Mm-hmm.
Everything just feels rushed. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done with the comics.
Okay. And then I guess we're moving on. I guess one of the biggest news that happened recently is that Eurogamer has uncovered sources about the new Nintendo NX console / hybrid. Okay, it's some very interesting information coming out, and I quote, let's see, on the move, NX will function as a high-powered handheld console with its own display. But here's the twist. But here's the twist. We've heard the screen is bookended by 2 controller sections on either side, which can be attached or detached as required. A base unit or dock station is used to connect to the brain of the NX, which will allow you to play onto the TV screen. The NX will use game cartridges as a choice of physical media. Multiple sources have told us, and although we have heard the suggestions, Nintendo recommends at least a 32 gig cartridge, which is pretty low in my opinion. But okay, that's it. Moving on. Inside the NX, as stated above, the system will harness NVIDIA's powerful mobile processor Tegra. Graphical comparisons with the current consoles are difficult due to the vastly different natures of the device, but once again, we've heard Nintendo is not chasing graphical parity. Quite the opposite, it is sacrificing power to ensure it can squeeze all of this technology into a handheld, something which also tallies with earlier reports. And after that, multiple news outlets, Kotaku, Polygon, have stated like they have heard similar sources that all matches up with what Eurogamer has said. So, what do you think of this? I do have a couple interesting, okay, I can see some good points and I see a lot of bad points, but
yeah,
what do you think about it first?
I don't think it's a terrible idea. I'm very curious about it, and I mean it's no secret, and I think I've given up on it too. And we know that Nintendo is not heavily competing with what Sony and Microsoft are doing,
regardless of what Nintendo says they are.
Yeah. So I'm just mixed about it. I don't have a problem with the Wii U. I really don't. I would love to get that system. I'm just very confused about like how they're supporting it at times.
Okay.
But what I want to say is what I'm fascinated about the NX, like what's going on with it, is it's kind of like who are they aiming it towards, because it seems like it's kind of like what's going on with the 3DS, where the 3DS or their handheld systems have always sold really, really well, and seems to go really well with commuters, mainly in Japan. But yeah. I think they're bigger among commuters, just in a global nature. And I think that's the target. They want to do like a home console that can be portable, and that's I think that's not a terrible idea. It's interesting. Okay,
here's some of the goods, and I'll just. In my opinion, then we might break it down if you feel like it.
Yeah.
One of the goods, because it is supposedly a console handheld hybrid, every game Nintendo makes from now on will work, regardless if it's a console, if it's for a console, or if the handheld output. Meaning, so for example, Nintendo's all of Nintendo's 3DS games will work on the Nintendo Wii U, and vice versa, because it's all in one. So that just means they might have more video game output from Nintendo, because instead of splitting handheld and console gaming apart, it's all into one. It's gonna work regardless. A second thing that I do kind of like about this is that it's portable.
Yeah.
Asterisk. I'll put an asterisk there. Like, okay, so you do want to play graphics quality, or AAA quality gaming on the go, sure. And this thing allows you to do that. And then it also allows you to, hook it back up to the TV if you feel like it. I think that's it. I think that's all the goods I can see about that. Oh, and second,
Yeah.
like if it's using a mobile chip, it's pretty cheap. It has to be pretty cheap. Rumors are even saying that it's cheaper than what a lot of people are expecting, like surprisingly cheaper. So I'm thinking maybe 200, 250, and Nintendo still makes profit, because
I feel like this, because of this console, the way it's set up, it can't be expensive because being portable, there are risks involved with having a portable. It can break, and you want the price to be fair, like, at least affordable.
Yeah, and here's some of the bad stuff. It's a handheld first.
Yep.
Okay, this being a handheld, how big is this thing going to be? Considering it's going to have supposedly 2 detachable and attachable controllers on both sides. How big is the screen? Is it going to be a 720p resolution? Is the screen going to be 720p, that big to support that?
Yeah.
Is it going to be the size of a Vita, 540p? That way, when it blows up onto the TV screen, or 1080p, it matches the resolution and everything. That's one thing I'm scared about. Second thing is, no backwards compatibility. Moving on to cartridges means no Wii U compatibility, no GameCube compatibility, none of that. No Wii compatibility, all that's gone. Which is a shame because considering their competition, Sony and Microsoft has been fully embracing backwards compatibility,
Yeah.
Even Microsoft has been like, we're going to build on an OS level, making sure you can play your old 360 games, which is great. Another thing is, if it is a portable, how long is the battery going to last? Because the 3DS didn't have a good battery life. Like, comparatively
not compared to the Vita. Vita is fantastic.
No, the Vita's not really that good also. But when Nintendo said, like 6 hours of battery life is nothing, blah, 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 when the DS came out, and then they're like, the 3DS came out, and it's like, just as low as the Vita.
Yeah.
And then, just the prices of the game, like, if it isn't handheld, no one's gonna, they have that handheld mentality of like, I'm not gonna buy a $60 game for a handheld.
Yeah, it would be best that. I hope they're not $60. I think $50 or $40 would be fine.
And one of the most scary rumors is the Tegra mobile chip. Like, granted, it is powerful, but not that powerful. Where it could, it can run Xbox One and PS4 games, but it will heavily be, downgraded. You'll see noticeable differences, comparatively. So, with that said, are they going to have third-party support, by the usual, by EA, Ubisoft, and Square Enix? Because Square Enix, there was some sources like Square Enix has announced a port of Dragon Quest, was it 12 already, right? 11? Or is it
11?
11 to the NX, but then with it being maybe so underpowered comparatively, is it going to be the 3DS version and not the console version?
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, so it sounds so exciting, but then I have so many worries, so many questions that Nintendo needs to answer. Like, so rumors are Nintendo's going to reveal the NX on September. My guess is probably before or after Tokyo Game Show, right after Tokyo Game Show. And I do hope they answer a lot of questions because if it comes out in March, they don't have a lot of time left,
Yeah. Well, we should know that the power of the NX should rival that of the Wii U because of Zelda, was it?
Yes, Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
Best of the worst. Same lettering.
Best of the worst, yep. So, we know that its power, its capability should be that of the Wii U, but I don't know if it's going to be better.
Yes, yeah, and that's scary. Well, the thing is that it does have a touchscreen, and a lot of people who played the Breath of the Wild demo didn't use very little, if at all, the touch controls from the Wii U. So that makes sense. I mean, and I guess which raises to another question that raised about controllers is how are the attachable controllers going to feel like? You know, because usually one side's the analog and D-pad, and the other side's the second analog and face button.
Oh, okay.
So now it's going to have just two face buttons.
Nunchuck part 2.
I mean, it's cool because you could technically take it to your friend's house and have 2 controllers, already. But if it's lacking the buttons again, so I say you're not going to be able to play, like a fighting game, like a Tekken or like a Street Fighter that requires 6 buttons,
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless they heavily modify it.
It's gonna be interesting.
This is definitely going to be interesting. It's scary, but exciting.
Their goal, though, whatever they decide to do, their goal is they need to appeal to the third-party developers, because that, I feel like, has been hurting Nintendo, is the lack of third-party support. They really need to bring it in, because I kind of felt like that was one of the highlights of the GameCube, was it had pretty good support on that system, and there were some good exclusive games for it. I feel like the GameCube was a fine console. Still miss it. I regret selling it now. Lately, I miss having that lunchbox, the handle and everything. It's good times, but oh well. So I don't know. It'll be interesting, but once again, all I care about is third-party support and the output of the games, and quality games too.
Yeah, their output should be faster this time around.
Yeah,
but as for third-party support, we'll see. Because if it is.
But if I have to look at the success between like their home consoles as of late and compare it to like their handheld console like DS and 3DS, I can't fault for Nintendo for kind of going the route of like, well, we should try to like modify like what's been working for us, and it seemed like they're trying to create like this new hybrid of like making a portable home console. So that's what I'm intrigued about.
Oh yeah, well I guess another thing about that is that they're definitely aiming for the mobile crowd. They're definitely aiming for that audience, and so all of their games, all of their mobile apps will be compatible with the NX. With that, with that said, another question just arises: like, so will the NX have a what is it? A 4G, a data?
Oh yeah.
Will it require a 4G? Oh crap! What's the word I'm looking for? Like a mobile service. What do we call one of those? Would you need a 4G from AT&T or Sprint?
It didn't work out for the Vita, so why should anyone start now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
Well, the one thing is that the Vita was just tied down to one vendor, and that was AT&T. When so many others of their customers have who knows, Sprint or Verizon.
Yeah.
So.
And they got booed when they announced AT&T.
Yeah.
I remember that. Anything else to add about the NX?
I'm sure like more stuff has trickled, like more on like the technical stuff. Like, hey, here's a leaked picture of the very early stages of the NX. But other than that, that's the gist of it. Those are the major points of it so far.
Okay.
And this kind of feels like a controlled leak, like Nintendo's just testing the water. We're going to give members of the general public some of the points of what the NX might be, and see how they react to it. Like how when the PlayStation 4 Neo and the Xbox Scorpio, when news of those broke out, it wasn't rumored. It was just like, hey, we have sources coming from somewhere that these consoles are going to exist. Yeah. So that's what it feels like to me.
We're kind of going into like scary territories with these consoles. Like we're going into a very interesting direction with all of them. Yeah, I mean with the 4Ks and stuff, there's still the fear of like what's going to come out of 4Ks. How often are we going to get these console upgrades? Like how much of a difference are they going to make? What's the point of getting a console upgrade if the visuals aren't going to get any better?
Yeah. and that's one of my concern too, because you have to make it for the lower common denominator console right now, and it is the Xbox One. And with the Xbox One and the Scorpio being so huge, you know, it literally feels like an Xbox 2. But you still have to make games for the Xbox compatible with the Xbox One, so it's still holding itself back.
Yeah.
But sooner or later we're going to drop, you know, that lowest common denominator. It's just a matter of when. So
yeah. Anything else?
That's it for the NX news.
Yeah.
What about you?
Nintendo announced the mini NES game console.
Oh yeah.
What do you think of that? It fits the palm of your hand.
As a plug and play video game device, it's fine.
Yeah.
It came out. It's 30 of pretty good games, you know. Other than that,
30 games, $60. That's $2 a game.
Yeah, and that's
Selection of titles are fantastic.
Are really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish kind of the mixed thing I have about it though. Like I kind of wish it's something like you could upgrade it to. I don't know what's Nintendo's long term plan with these handheld or not handheld. These plug-in consoles. Will they come out with like more? And will they have like their own select amount of games?
And that would be terrible if they do. If they were going to do that, they would have just. Of course they wouldn't, but they would have just made it enable it to hook up to the internet. You know.
Yeah, I would much rather. I would like it to hook up to the internet, and you can when they come out with like new batches of games, pay money, and then just store it in that console.
Yeah, but of course they're not going to do that because people's going to buy these. And it makes sense because if you look at it as it's just a standalone plug and play, like how Namco's done it, how Sega's done it, how every Chinese knockoff has done it. The 100 games in one cartridge, it's fine. It's actually a pretty good deal.
Oh yeah. Oh man, you get the NES controllers, and the NES controllers can plug into your Wii remote.
Yes,
I like those.
I didn't like that. I don't like that. I rather it was just NES controllers with USB ports.
Oh yeah.
That's what I would have preferred. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, my voice kind of cracked there.
That's what I would have preferred, but it's still really cool that it does connect to the Wii remotes. Meaning, if you have any accessory already that's already compatible with that, you can just plug it in.
I don't know about you, but depending on the titles, maybe I would like for them to do Super Nintendo Mini.
Oh yeah,
and hopefully just get like a variety of games available for it, and bring back these controllers. Those controllers are fantastic. I love the NES controller, and the Super Nintendo controller is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I always get concerned and worried that someday my controllers are just gonna break, and I won't be able to play my Super Nintendo anymore unless I get like the low quality knockoff controllers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's better than nothing, but I want to live in that world.
Yeah.
But Super Nintendo, though, man, they go in that direction. There's so much to offer. I mean, the library is so huge, but we won't get like all of these hidden gems, though, due to licensing. But we'll see. We'll see how this turns out. But I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a nice little gift to give to people.
Yeah, it really is. What I really would have liked is if they added that, and they added the game loader, like maybe even the top NES loader onto it. Mm-hmm. That would have been fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's about it about like the new Nintendo Mini. I think it's pretty cool. Definitely a nice. I think it'd be like a nice what some people are calling it a stocking stuffer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly what it is.
It's got quality games in it, and the old NES system. Yeah, I feel like there's many games that they still shine.
Yeah,
and this one has all the shiners.
Yeah, true for the most part.
Yep. What games have you been working on lately?
Nothing. I know where you're going with this. What about you? Let's start with you. What have you been working on?
I Am Setsuna.
Oh, nice.
I keep going to that game as of late.
Yep.
Still playing Uncharted 4. I know I'm so behind on that, but I Am Setsuna is a game that I feel like I gotta check this out. I'm too excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's just an impression of it. I haven't completed the game. It's not a full-on review. I'm just in like for an hour and a half so far. just exploring and I'm starting to learn a little bit more about the mechanics of it, and kind of see the things that seem to inspire the developers. I think it's a fine game so far. There's people out there that kind of felt like it's it's too short of a game, and I feel like it's all right. Like I think it's all right game. I mean, people who buy the game should know what they're getting into. Everyone wants to recreate that feeling of Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VI, and this game is not going to be a breakthrough like those old Super Nintendo games, but I feel like it's going in a step to the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that this game does well enough that the studio Tokyo RPG Factory,
yes,
I'm hoping they have future projects, and I'm hoping that they kind of stick with sort of like that Super Nintendo vibe, because I don't feel like it's a dead genre or a dead style. It's been coming back in a big way. We see a lot of smartphone old school RPGs being spit out by, what was it, Kemco?
Mm-hmm. Kemco.
Yeah. And I really like this game. The combat, it's familiar to me. I mean, everything about this game is familiar to me. I'm just accessing into the game, going into the settings. I turned off wait. I want the combat to be active. I want some challenge into the game. The combat plays like Chrono Trigger. Same with exploration. Characters have dialogues, and you just jump into the game. It's just one of those games I feel like I'm not weighted down by heavy stories or cutscenes. I'm just kind of going with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
So pacing's not too bad. It's good.
Right
yeah, I'm really liking it.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of game with no heavy cutscenes, I've been playing Star Ocean 4. Star Ocean 5, technically. Star Ocean Faithlessness and Integrity. And it's pretty good. And I've been enjoying it so far. The combat's pretty solid. The 60 frames per second the game actually looks pretty good for what it is. But one of the weird thing about it is that there's no... Well, there are like cutscenes in the game, but there's like some of the event triggers, where the characters talk to each other. It's weird.
It's like me going into this building, talking to the chief or the mayor,
mm-hmm.
and he's sitting down talking to you,
and he's giving out like exposition, like here's some important stuff, and like you can still control it and it's not locked. The camera's not locked. It's not a cutscene. He's explaining it to you, but you can move your character, you can walk around, you can move the camera angle, and it just looks weird.
It's like playing Uncharted games when the characters are having dialogue. You're just moving forward, you're platforming, you're doing the action, the movement, and stuff like that, but the characters are still interacting with each other. This is a role-playing game, and it's kind of awkward having something like that.
No, I wouldn't compare it to Uncharted, because Uncharted does it well,
Yeah, but because there's action going on, you're trying to keep things going, especially getting to know the characters.
Yeah, there's witty banters, and then the characters are moving along with you, making conversation. But with this, is just like, hey, this is supposed to be. It feels like a cutscene. This is what it feels like,
Yeah,
because in Uncharted, it's witty dialogue and it's just banter back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Here's this character giving off exposition. Like heavy exposition, like this is important to the story almost, but it's not. You're moving the camera. I'm walking around in a circle. I'm spinning the analog stick, making the character walk around in circles just because that's how I am, and it looks dumb. It breaks it kind of breaks the immersion a little bit.
Yeah.
So definitely understand the criticism of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all it really needs is some dynamic camera angles, some walk down camera angles. Like, okay, it makes sense. It makes it better.
Yeah. So you recommend the game?
I can't say that because I'm not too far. I'm still very close towards the beginning. I haven't gotten everybody in the party yet. So, but at the moment, I'm enjoying it. The combat's really good. The story so far hasn't. isn't insulting. You know,
and it'll stay there.
Yeah, and it'll stay there. You know, nothing has happened, so.
Yep.
All right,
that's about it for the game news for me.
Yeah. And that's it for me too.
Yeah. I mean, I am Setsuna. I feel like can't fully recommend it because I haven't gone too far in the game, but I feel like hearing the length of the time, 21 hours, I think that's a solid time to play an RPG, especially of that caliber. People are complaining about that. And I'm thinking, actually, when I play Chrono Trigger, it's just playing it straightforward. It actually, on average, it actually takes me like 20 to 25 hours to beat that game.
Mm-hmm.
And same with Final Fantasy IV. They weren't super long games to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're that short, it's because we understand these kind of gameplays. So it shouldn't take us too long. Mm-hmm. But we'll see. But yeah, I enjoy it. I think if you're someone who likes those kind of old school RPGs, something of like has like that square touch to it, I think this is that kind of game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's about it.
Yeah, that about wraps it up for us. What did you? Yeah. So if you guys saw the Comic-Con trailer, tell what you think. And what do you guys think about the newest Annex rumors or news that came out? Go ahead and let us know. And see you next time.
Bye.